Hi guys, and welcome to this live currency strength indicator table video with me, John, on this Friday the 31st of March. So we're at the end of the month now, so there'll be some interesting moves in the market. Now you can see in front of us we've got the two tables. We've got the trend traders table and the day traders table. These are the same studies, just highlighting to us the different time frames. These tables auto update every 5 minutes 24/7, so our members can see how the market stands right now in real time. Now we've had a really good week considering some of the moves in the market, and we're going to cover some of those pairs that we talked about this week. Just kind of do a little bit of a roundup. We talked about CADJPY a couple of times, EURAUD and CAD-yen, so I'm going to feature those in this video today, just to kind of see how they got on. CAD-yen was probably the biggest swinger of the week. We probably didn't get that one to a T. We were looking to see it break a little bit lower, seeing if that risk sentiment remained in the market, and it didn't. The risk flow has completely changed, really. But I'm going to show you that the tables actually told us that the risk flow was changing before we saw the big move to the upside. So I'm just going to show you that as well. But in this first instance, I'm going to focus on Pound Aussie. Pound Aussie features top of the trend traders. It's also the second sort of pair here on the day traders, with Pound being the second strongest and Aussie being the second weakest on the day traders. So I'm going to focus on Pound Aussie today. The table's obviously highlighting multiple different currencies here. You can see that the Euros S2 on the trend traders, S3 on the day traders. You can see that the yen tops the day traders as the weakest and is the third weakest on the trend traders. You can see that the dollar is W2 on the trend traders and W3 on the day traders. So lots of currencies there that you could be taking a look at going into today's session. But because it's a Friday, because it's the end of the month, I'm just going to go over some of the ones that we talked about this week, as well as highlighting Pound Aussie. So let's go take a look at Pound Aussie first. I'm looking to see if price will stay within this bullish channel that I've got mapped out here. Now I've zoomed out just to kind of give you the bigger picture outlook, and what I'm looking for really is Pound Aussie prices to come up towards the 1.9150, or at least this area here around about the 1.88 handle. Now the reason why I like the 1.88 handle is because it's kind of like a neckline of a previous head and shoulders pattern which formed at the 1.9150. You kind of got this neckline. It's a more of an ascending neckline if we were to be really sort of particular about the neckline and the way it comes in at the lows. However, if you kind of just map it from a horizontal zonal point of view, you've got the 1.88 handle, which could be the next level of interest for price. Maybe we'll see price rally into that level and come away from that level, maybe have a pullback at that point. But I'm looking to see if we're going to remain within this bullish channel here. So if I just zoom in a little bit more so you can actually see that bullish channel, I've gone from the low down here on the 21st of Feb, mapped out the trend line here, and then copied the trend line up, and you can see that it comes from that sort of 1.8 area. So nice clean bullish channel here, and you can see that price most recently has kind of come into the bullish channel again, or the trend line support, and started to move a little bit higher. So I'm looking to see if that will continue. If it does, price needs to trade above these previous highs in here for us to look for that continuation. Now if I go to the 4-hour time frame, there's actually like a range within this sort of move to the upside, so we may get a slight break of the bullish channel before maybe a move back within it and a continuation. So we've got this sort of range here. That range is between the highs at 1.84, or actually we could say the 1.85 handle, nice level there, and then we've got the 1.8375. So we've got that sort of 25 pip sort of range going on, 125 pip range going on in and around that area. So I quite like the idea of price maybe staying within the range. We could even look for price to come to the range lows, very similar to Pound Aussie that we looked at, Euro Aussie that we looked at recently. So maybe a move back into this area here. If buyers start to come in around this point, we could start looking for longs again up to the 1.88 handle. But bullish channel here, looks like it's going to remain. We're just going to need to see maybe come outside of it for a moment, see it find a demand zone, and then look for the opportunity to the upside. Alternatively, wait for the break and retest of that 1.85 handle. The 1.83 is a nice level as well. If price did come back to the 1.83, there could be an opportunity for buyers to step in around that area. So keep your eyes on that one. We're now going to go over some featured currency pairs of this week. So if I go and bring the tables back in, the first one we're going to touch upon is CAD yen. The reason we're looking at CAD yen is because we did a video on this on Monday. We talked about the CAN price reached the 92.50 support. It did the complete opposite. Okay, so we have to hold our hands up there. Didn't play out how we anticipated in the first day, but I'm going to show you how the tables warned you that it wasn't going to play out. Okay, so first of all, let's take a look at CAD yen. Let's see what it's done recently, and this was the level we were interested in. You can see I've got a lot of zones on the chart at the moment, but the real reason we were looking for further downside is because we traded through the 95 level, okay, which were all these lows back in here. So price broke through the 95 handle. I was then expecting maybe a move back up to the highs. So in the video I talked about the highs being an area I'd look for a short, because as well I've just mapped in this bearish channel as well, and it was a combination of the two horizontal combination with the trend line resistance. So I would have looked for a short from that area, which I did, but I came out of the short and the tables told me why I should have come out the short. So this was our target area. Obviously price didn't come into that area, and we've actually flipped to the upside here, and price actually kind of formed an inverse head and shoulders pattern there, and price has since rallied 300 pips to the upside. So if we kind of take a note of where we were talking about getting short, so we're looking at really the 27th, okay, where we were looking for that opportunity for price to come into these highs to find resistance. I mean, if you did take that, you could have made at least 70 pips, but obviously that depends on your reward to risk ratio. That also depends on what time frame you were trading. However, if I go onto the tables here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down to the area below the tables. So if you remember, you can see this as well. We've got the currency strength indicator tables, 30-day history, rolling data. Okay, so we've got all the rolling information here. Now I'm going to come down to the 27th. Now the reason why we talked about CAD yen in the first place was because the yen was strong. Let me actually change the color of this pen so we can see this a little bit. The yen was strong, okay. CAD was weak on the trend traders table. On the day traders table, there was confluence there. We had CAD as the third weakest and yen as the second strongest. So we had confluence. However, if we come to the 5 p.m. day traders table, you can see that that has completely changed. So by 5 p.m. on that evening, the CAD was the third strongest currency and the yen was the third weakest. That was the exit sign, basically. That was for you to say, okay, well, it's actually flipped, it's actually reversed on this table. There is no reason for me to stay in this trade any longer. Okay, now if I just scroll up again, although CAD yen appears the next day on the trend traders, we have to remember the trend traders is a higher time frame. Okay, so from a higher time frame point of view, yes, the yen was still a strong currency, CAD was still a weak one. However, on our day traders, CAD has now moved to the second strongest currency, yen still at W3, so the Canadian dollar is getting stronger. Okay, now I want to draw your attention back to the area here, and like I said, by the 28th, this was, looking to me like we should get out. Now you can see 27th, we start to come to the end of that. I did take a short here aggressively despite the tables, okay, and you can see that obviously the tables were right and I was wrong, okay, because price has then come back down. You can see this is the 28th, this is about 10 o'clock on the 28th, okay, so an hour after those tables came out, which is what gave me my exit, really was seeing that CAD getting stronger, and then you can see from that point we've rallied 300 pips to the upside. So I just wanted to show you that the tables can actually give you the exit that you should be looking for as well as your entries. Okay, we look at these to potential entries into the market, but you can also look at them and say, well, hang on a minute, the Canadian dollar's getting stronger, the yen's getting weaker. We shouldn't be looking to short this market from a lower time frame point of view anymore. We should be looking to see if that trend is going to potentially reverse, and obviously it did. Price continued to the upside. Let's go over another pair of interest this week. One was cable. Cable actually played out pretty much as we expected. We've been looking for price to come up to the 124.25 handle, and it played out exactly as we wanted it to. Ever since it came into the 1.22 handle, we've been looking for opportunities to get long on sort of minor demand zones. Yesterday was one of those minor demand zones that really came into play, and we've seen it rally into the 124 handle now. So I'm looking to see if we get another move back up, potentially into the 124.25. I'm then going to be looking at the tables to see if the pound starts to weaken, dollar starts to strengthen, because we're at range highs. If we're at range highs, I like the idea of potentially trading within the range. So there could be a big momentum shift coming for cable. I don't want to take up too much of your time, so I'm only going to briefly go over these, but the last pair that we talked about this week that performed really well was Euro Aussie. We were looking for longs in this market, and in particular, if we go to the hourly time frame, we were looking for longs down in here. And if you took that long position in there, you would have done at least 110 pips to the upside. If you're still holding this move through the range highs, then price is starting to find some resistance here back at the previous structure highs, so you've got to be a little bit careful of that. It is, like I said, it's a Friday, it's the end of the month, maybe it's a good one to just bank and wait for next week to come. But you can see price rallied sort of 110 pips to the sort of area of interest. If you held it beyond that, you could have done 160 pips to the upside. So again, although CAD yen didn't really play out the way we expected, we had a nice long on pound US dollar, nice longs on Euro Aussie going into this week. So hopefully you managed to catch some of them moves, and thank you for watching the video, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next one.